I'm going to single-handedly, as a young Māori man, go out and take on this world in a space that doesn't occupy any space for me. I will surf big waves, I will win, but I'll make sure that my children, their cousins, their friends see a Māori face on the podium.
What I know from the old days, it was mana. Didn't matter who you were, they acknowledged mana. All humans have mana if you action it. And when the king said, just be Māori, that just made my heart sing, because I was always Māori before I knew I was, because my whakapapa is,
I've always made sure to keep working, get off my ass, do something, and make sure it's positive for everybody else.
Beautiful.
What was the question?
I don't know, but we got an answer. E ngā raurangatira mā, nau mai haramai. Welcome to the Fade Up podcast, brought to you by Ōtorohanga District Council, and also big thanks to Ōtorohanga College, and of course mention our whare here at CutThroat Brothers in Ōtorohanga. Today we've got two special guests in our podcast, two rangatira as I call them, and we're very fortunate to have them here on the barber's seat next to me. Kia ora brothers, ko wai koe, mōwhia koe.
Daniel Kereopa from out at Whaingaroa. Born and raised on the west coast along the rocks and the wild waters of the west, survivor of it all. But yeah, so blessed to be here amongst amazing people.
Kia ora koutou, ko Daniel Ormsby tuku ingoa. Born and bred here in Ōtorohanga, Ngāti Maniapoto, Ngāti Kapituhi, Ngāti Uekaha and Ngāti Hinewai and many more. And I'm a local artist. And specialising in the Māori arts.
Thank you brothers again for being here today. Yeah, I call you both rangatira in both of your respective fields. But for you guys to get to that platform and that stage of being really good at what you do is what I would say. First of all, was there a time where you felt a spark like, that's me, that's what I want to do? And what did that feel like? Okay, what did it feel like?
Man, it was instant for me. Like, I was probably around 8 years old and I went to Ngarunui Beach and it was an instant connection between me and the moana where I truly believed that I could understand what Hini Moana was telling me, and I could hear other voices beyond Hini Moana, which was Tangaroa, and voices coming from out there, and it was like instant. I wanted to know more, I felt comfortable, I was just like, what is this? So it wasn't the surfing straight away that captured me, it was this intense sort of and I wanted to tap into it, but I'd go to bed hearing it, I'd wake up hearing it, I'd put my feet in, I could feel it. So a lot of my physical, spiritual and my mind was being stimulated. And it was the stimulation that brought me calmness and excitement, and even to this day it's much the same. But yeah, if you can find that, woo, she's a goer.
Yeah, if you're lucky enough
If
to.
you're lucky enough, yeah, that's right. What about you?
I think my moment was walking into the whakairo shed when I'd signed up on the visual arts or contemporary Māori arts. But I was kind of at that stage where you're searching and you'll sign up anything. I'd failed Polytech, and so I kind of got booted to Te Wānanga Aotearoa, and I'd signed up on the contemporary arts, which I love. But it was when I went next door and saw the tōtara and the chisels, and I just, yeah, that was that same moment. I guess it's resonation, That was, I was meant to vibrate with that. And I still feel it to this day when I still feel it with my chisels and stuff. It's home. But I did go through a big period of searching and being foggy. Yeah, but there was these little steps, but that's the moment I go back to. It's like you meeting the moana for the first time.
Yeah.
Same thing, stimulated, went home and I could
yeah.
see patterns in my head and stuff. Yes, and I knew something's been opened. But yeah, very lucky that we got to have that we found it.
the beautiful thing with the moana too, it's forever changing. So you think you got the grip around it, you know, you got all the answers, and just
It'll flip on
it'll
you,
flip on you like, oh, how did that happen? Which makes it very exciting because you have to be flexible and but the intention, you know, is still there, and it's like, I can't get enough of this, man.
It's humbling too, eh? It keeps you
Yeah.
humble, eh?
Keeps you so humble.
Keeps you moving and always evolving into the evolving arts or the evolving sports. You've got to be on top of your game no matter what.
Yeah. And I guess if you're working in the taiao too spaces, your listening gets trained. Your eyes get trained, obviously, but your sensories are just operating. Everything operates, and you start to see stuff behind you. You're like, oh, how did that happen? You know, and I call it the Māori magic, you know, the unseen stuff. This is beautiful, but it's real. Yeah. And it can be transferred into other spaces, even in work, you know, if you have jobs and stuff, even into your home life.
Yeah.
With your families, how do you have that safe vibration with your children, you know? Am I trying to tell them what to do, or am I trying to soothe them too much, you know? But you're practiced in this sort of give, take, and try to find that middle ground. And that's just from that spark.
Yeah, I really honour that spark because I'm so grateful for what I do and where I'm at. That that little spark is just the big spark, and I always honour it and acknowledge it, and the people that introduced me to it and helped flame it, because they saw it in me, eh? And they gave it love, they fed it. But I feel it now when I see someone. I give chisels to people, but I only give them to the ones with the spark. Yeah, like you've got to not earn it, but what good's giving stuff to people that don't have the spark? They'll put it away, but I'll try and help them find their spark. But yeah.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head, Dan, about seeing the spark and then feeding it into a flame. Because as we know, a spark happens, then smoke starts happening, it smoulders, and then it turns into a flame. And once it's a flame, it's gone. Yeah, it's away.
What I found with the arts is that it's a vulnerable space. People are real shy to, like, show us what you drew. No, we're really shy and vulnerable about that. Protective, or we won't do it. Because if I don't do it, I can't be bummed out. So fanning it is as simple as just beautiful, even if it's not, just to make sure that fragile part gets a chance to take flame. Easy, it's all it takes. Or just a pat on the back. I remember those moments where someone did that to me and it meant the world. Just a ka pai, boy.
Yeah. All right, brothers, thank you. So, yeah, we're talking about, especially in our communities, and the kōrero is about being Māori, you know. I'm sitting here and I'm wearing a jersey that says Māori ake nei, but it doesn't make me any more Māori than you, bro. You know, those sort of questions. And I've got cousins that are like, they don't need kitas and powers, but that doesn't make them less Māori. So what's your whakaaro on that, bro, being Māori, and what is the draw line, or is there a line for you to be Māori or not Māori?
Yeah. Well, you just spoke about food, eh?
We love it, bro. We can't not talk about food.
Now I'm distracted about food. But if I go back to the food, you know, like I can go and get kōra for my family, but I don't really eat it.
Me neither, bro. I don't eat crayfish either. I'll get it though.
Yeah. And then some of the whānau are like, oh, do you even eat kinas and powers? I'm like, not really. It's not that I don't love it. I love going to get it because I know the philosophy of giving to people is what I'm really good at. I'm good at giving, so do I need to eat the kai too to feel Māori, or is the giving enough? Is the purpose of why you went for a dive to feed the family enough? Just say in that context of being Māori. You know, and I sort of mentioned it earlier, I'm constantly in that space. Am I Māori enough? I started Maurako to understand how to fight like a Māori. I've spent years in karate, getting my black belt. What I learnt in 15 years doing that, I learnt in 1 year in Maurako. And I'm like, bruh, I just wasted 14 years of training when I could have been with my people training, you know, but I didn't understand that this was available to me.
Yeah.
And then I got the Moana space, you know, like I'm in a space where it's all about surfing. It's the dance, it's the act of being on the water. But I never really was associated in my heart to the act of surfing. I was associated to how my heart would connect with the moana, which sent me signals to my brain that gave me a whole different feeling. Now, is that Māori or is that someone that's just wee wawa?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But there's no space for me to go out and kōrero with people. Is this what Māori feel too? This conversation of, you know, this connection to our tupuna, to the most ancient energy sources. Is that something that's Māori? Or am I crazy?
Yeah, bro, fair kōrero, and I do relate to that. But Dan, there's a lot of our rangatahi out there that feel that they're not Māori enough, or they struggle to identify as Māori. Bro, in your life, have you had any struggles of identifying as Māori or any of those barriers?
Well, I did when I was young. I didn't know I was anything. Yeah, I thought a Māori was someone else. Look at my dad, and he's obviously Māori, undeniably, but it wasn't a concept. Daniel said it before, it was only later on when it got brought up. And me being both, Mum being Pākehā, but it wasn't a thing. Dad would have all his Pākehā mates over and his Māori mates, but for them it was you're a good person or a bad person. Cut and dry, yep. And still is to this day. And that's how I am. Because it's all about good and bad, right, wrong. You know, that's where the line is, eh? Yeah, I had my little identity crisis, and part of filling that hole was filling the bit I'd never had, just like Daniel said. So I did Maurako too, and I've done all of it. Had a go at haka. I'm not that guy. But just felt it helped me get comfortable, and now I leave it all behind. Yeah, and when the king said just be Māori, that just made my heart sing, eh? Because I was always Māori before I knew I was, because my whakapapa is, eh? But I just always, whenever there's that issue, I'm a wairua. Yeah, my spirit is none of those. It's bigger than all that. So I just always tap into that. It's that moana space again, eh? Yeah, and I always touch that place, because that's where we all come from. But it's our values. So that good and bad is how you act. It's not who you are, it's how you act. Yeah, like take a kai when you go somewhere, say thank you, be respectful, and that's the dividing line for me anyway.
So what I'm picking up in that kōrero, bro, and actually in both of yours, is don't try and identify to be Māori. Don't try and be Māori. Be yourselves, but be respectful.
Be yourself, yeah.
It's the way that you conduct yourself that is the most important to people.
I've been at marae for different stuff, and there's Pākehā people present, and they get up to introduce themselves and apologise. And I growl them, like, you know, stand up and be proud of yourself. Don't apologise. What are you apologising for? If you feel that way, that's not the time to do it. Anytime you stand up, stand up and stick to introduce yourself. You know, in your beauty, your timeless beauty. Well, who are you apologising for? What did you just do? I just think it's really, so carrying that or feeling that they have to do that. Yeah, like this isn't the time and place when you're introducing yourself. I'll leave it there, but I see a lot of these things that they're detrimental to our growth as a nation. Yeah, it's bit of a complex area, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a big box to dive into.
What I know from the old days, it was mana. It didn't matter who you were. They acknowledged mana, and all humans have mana if you action it. Because we all have the potential for mana, but not many people actually have the discipline or the desire to action it and manifest it. So a person that's manifested it, turned their potential into actuality, that's mana. You've proven it and you've shown it. Yeah, and so that's where we see who someone is. Not are they Māori, Chinese? It's the mana.
And as we know, everybody can have mana. All
Oh
cultures.
yeah, everyone, in whatever way. If you're born without legs, the tenacity in which you attack life is a demonstration of your mana, and we admire and respect them for it. Yeah, and so we lift them. Yeah, it's their mana, not that they got missing two legs in their an ethnicity. It doesn't matter. They're a human, and then they're a wairua before that.
So what are those qualities that you guys see in your guys' role models? So who are your role models in your life?
Who's my role models? Funny enough, you know what? I'll tell everybody this. I've never had a role model. I never looked up to anybody because no one would speak to me. No one would give me the time to awhi me along in the spaces I was going. I was always having to figure it out myself. I was always having to make the mistakes, fix them, move forward, make the mistakes. I really honestly wish someone was around that could have, held my hand a little bit when I was a full-time competitor, because it was so lonely. That's why I have so much trust in the moana, because no matter where I went in the world, I was never alone, but also I never really had guidance. But these are some of the things I wish I had. So the stuff that I didn't have is what I try to give to others now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
100, bro. I understand that 100. What about you, Dan? Who's been your role models, bro, that you've looked up to through your life?
Well, I've got a good family. Yes, I've always had, ups and downs and that. Heaps of ups and downs. But intrinsically good, like morally and all that. And strong characters on both sides, Māori Pākehā, like loving. But even in this town, when I was a young person, there was heaps of people, like the ute used to pull up on a Sunday. Hey, do those kids want to come and play touch? And we'd all go down to Ōtorohanga Primary, So heaps of our, their uncles now, Hey, uncle.
Yep.
Yeah, just would drive around town picking up kids and take us for games and stuff. And, that's something I see missing, that I'm so aware of how much that helped me. So I try and make sure that I'm providing that as much as I can for the next wave behind me.
Cool, brothers. Cool. Thank you for that. As we know, you're both, rangatira in both your guys' elements. So for you, DK, for your element, what are the places that it's taken you, bro? Especially unexpected, have you? Because I know that you've travelled the world, but what are those places that you'd never ever thought that your passion would ever take you?
Traveling the world with surfing has been something in my family that was never an option. My parents would never ever thought that they would see the world through my eyes, because they never dreamed as big as what was unfolding, but they supported it. I think one of the greatest places I went to and a space that I ended up in was in Japan. I had a surfing competition over there. They loved, there was someone with brown skin that surfed, that was, from Aotearoa, spoke Māori, and I was able to move into their cultural space. So like in a marae sort of setting, you have the villages on the outside. The closer you get to the central part of the village is where all the mātauranga is. So I got invited into that space. Sake, sit down with all the elders. Couldn't speak Japanese, bro. But, you know, we were having sake, we were getting on it. And then just out of nowhere, I was allowed to see their heritage. So they opened their doors to all their samurai swords, armory, and I was able to have a translator with me, and they were explaining to me how old their heritage is and their culture. No way in my life would I be sitting in a space thousands and thousands of years old, hearing kōrero that was still very similar to ours, and how we as Māori operated, protected, and were disciplined in our own arts, much the same as the Japanese. And I'm just sitting there, I end up crying because you can see the love that they have for this armour, the people still live in it. And I'm just sitting there going, bro, what am I doing here? What is this? Because at the same time I was training in that specific martial arts too. So there was lots of alignments happening, but it just reminded me how powerful our culture is and the risks and rewards that our people always put themselves through. From, like, as I tell my kids, our stories start on the horizon and they come towards us. I still see our canoes sailing now. You want to be part of the story, you take your waka and you sail to the horizon. And that's all I could see when I was in the space with the samurai. You know, their sun is here, their people are here, their village is here, and they're all connected. If I didn't choose to go to Japan, I'd never have that wholesome learnings of another culture. So I said yes to a lot of things in my life, and not so much, nah,
That's not me.
That's not me, that wouldn't be very cool, you know.
Yeah.
I always gave myself opportunities to learn from other cultures. And in Brazil too, the Portuguese culture, you have two opposites of livings of people, the rich, the poor, life, death, you know, to witness how people can love and live life so big over there, and also, you know, have no life and live in gutters.
Wow, two extremes.
Two extremes living in the same space. I'm like, man, we are lucky in our country, but yet we still argue and fight over things that are just unnecessary. But yeah, you know, cultures has taught me lots about myself and about how amazing we are as people, how resilient we are, and how our stories are real. They're not just a story, because now I add myself to that story. I sail my waka out to the horizon. Oh, yep, I'm adding to the whakapapa now. What does it mean to be out here? Okay.
Yeah.
We're in the deep now. Time to go soul searching. And you come home with that story. Feed it to your whānau. This is what it takes.
Yeah.
And
That's
it's
a good
cool because
statement.
they see their own do that and go do that, bro. And then it gives them a little piece of, actually, I can do that. I can do that.
So that was one of my goals growing up, because I had no Māori role models. I went, if anybody's watching me, I'm going to single-handedly, as a young Māori man, go out and take on this world in a space that doesn't occupy any space for me. And I will go for it. I will charge, I will surf big waves, I will win, but I'll make sure that my children, their cousins, their friends, see a Māori face on the podium. Whatever comes out of my mouth, doesn't matter, but they'll see themselves in me. And I guess it's still one of the goals for me now.
Beautiful, brother. Man, that's beautiful.
What was the question?
I don't know, but we got an
I don't
answer.
know, eh?
Bro, if you're saying that though, like last year I was on might have only been a 20-second clip for something at an expo or something for moko, and I got a message later, and it was a relation saying, hey, I'm sitting with Nan, and they're down Foxton, I think, and you popped up on the TV, and I'm like, oh, shame. That's my thinking. And I said, oh, how did Nan like it? And she said she started crying. She was so happy and jumped around the room, and that just meant the world to me, eh? That I've made someone else proud because I'm whānau. Yeah, it's a little bit different, but the same thing. The podium, it's
seeing ourselves in those
seeing
spaces,
ourselves, you know.
Yeah. So
And even
she's
further down the track, sorry, bro. Like I moved into some other learning spaces, and it was with gang members in Auckland, and I'm like, bro, and they're like, bro, I know who you are. I'm like, I don't know, bro. I'm like, nah, I saw you on TV, bro. You won this competition and da-da-da-da-da. Everybody inside was so proud, bro.
Yeah, cool.
And I'm like,
Mana again, that's that mana.
Yeah. And it's like without you knowing, are giving someone hope. You're giving them a reason to potentially better themselves or to just make a better decision. Just by being you and by being the face on that podium. Yeah. Or on that TV screen.
Because they can relate to you.
Because they can relate.
There's a brother up there.
There's a brother. Yeah. So I've learnt to not step back from those comments, but to move into it and to hold that space for the person that you're talking with, because it was a moment when they probably needed you the most. And now this kanohi ki te kanohi, a real person, that person they saw on TV is now talking to me, bro.
Yeah. And that's a real buzz for a lot of people,
bro. Buzz, right? So
that's why we're here, eh?
Yeah, I guess so.
When you'd rather be home with the kids.
Yeah.
Well, not rather, but it's bigger than that, eh? You realise what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been talking to our rangatahi, especially here at Ōtorohanga College, and we've been talking about this thing called small town syndrome. And I saw this video on TikTok one time where they put some ants on a white piece of paper and they drew a line around these ants. And the ants didn't step a foot, or a crawler, didn't step a foot outside of that circle because they saw a barrier and they thought that they could never walk over that line, even though it was a flat line on a piece of paper. And we talked about that and the small town syndrome that some of our small towns have. And we've all grown up in small towns. So, Dan, what's your whakaaro, bro? Growing up here in Ōtorohanga, even smaller, Hangatiki, and how can we tell our rangatahi out there that you can step outside that circle? There is a big world outside of our small town, and you can thrive and strive for whatever you want. How do we get that message across to our rangatahi, in our small towns especially?
Probably relating to me, I'll flip it around, that you can stay here too, because that goes both ways. Everywhere else is better, but people in another town think Ōtorohanga's better because it's not their town. But you make it where you are. This is your home, your attitude, eh? Because no matter, a lot of people just want to go make a fresh start another place. So it kind of goes, it's a double-edged sword. Some people, it's their, they're born to travel. They need to. Like bro here, that's in your heart. But I wasn't that one. While everyone was fleeing, I was like, see us later. Massive. That's
leave me here.
Yeah, less people. But everyone's different, eh? But it's as long as you're doing it for the right reason, really. So I knew who I was, and I was happy to stay. I've been away, but I always come home, because I've got a good inner home, and I'm happy where I am. I can go other places, and that I'm the same inside.
I like that how you flipped it around, bro. And you're like,
well, you always think the grass is greener somewhere else.
Yeah.
Till you go to that place. Well, how many people like my age now trying to come home because they've realised what we want to have our kids had what we had? Well, you took them away from it. You took them to a place where the values are different and you don't like the values there and you're trying to come home to it. But now it's hard because you've missed a lot. Because we've been on a journey back here at home. Everyone's matariki, everyone's reconnecting to families, and our communities emerging. Well, they have to come home and learn where they fit in it. They're a few years behind, and a lot of people are happy they left. They loved there. So each to their own. But
It's an interesting point too. Hey, like I'll go on the angle also is you need people to stay home because they know what is actually happening, and they know, for example, say seabed mining is happening out on the west coast. The Hokianga will be the ones that fight for it.
Yeah, 100. Yeah, bro.
You know, not the ones that left. They know what it means to lose the sand. They know what it means to potentially lose the fish that are out there. You can't make up this feeling that this is my home. If you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not a pretend.
yeah,
When you're at home, you know what you've done to keep your whare warm, to keep the people in your community fed. And when you know these things, you know why we need to go and protect the ocean.
you know when it's okay.
You know
know
when
the
it's,
signs.
yeah, you know the signs, so you'll move into that space to protect it. Yeah, so if you have a knowing about who you are and where you're from, you can kind of go anywhere around the world and come home, but you can't bridge that gap of time.
I was really grateful for the education I got through it, or the experiences of the mahi whakairo, moko, just ngā mea Māori. The whole new world that opened up when I started learning carving and stuff. And when I learned, if I moved to Australia and I get lots of money there when you're a moko artist, but that job has a role in our community, and all that information is for our community, because through whakapapa I'm that fella. So me and Mitchell Hughes have spoken about this. We chose to stay here and do the role of our mahi because we can't do it in another place. It's our rohe, and we are the persons that hold that responsibility for our craft. Yeah, so we see others in Oz, and they got 3 Monaros lined up. So yeah, when you look at the money side, there's regret, but then you also have other times seeing your own relations, nieces and nephews, and that prospering through the gifts that you've offering. We couldn't do that if we were in Australia. Yeah, so it's there's responsibilities and stuff comes with some roles. But like you said, some people have to stay home.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%, bro. Because, I've got cousins and bros that have moved to Aussie, and they said, I'm going to go there for 3 years, do the FIFO life, come back and buy a house. If 15 years later, the bros are still trying to get home, So they're over there trying to make a living to get home, where on the flip side, you could have just stayed home, bro. You'd have a house 10 years deep by now. Hey, so I guess I get both of your guys for whakaro where sometimes it is just better making a living back here, but at least you're grounded on your whenua, which seems like is a really important thing to a lot of people now.
It has to be. Like in my space, I've surfed some really big waves and I've drowned 3 times. But I never wavered from the fear of dying. Because in the space that I'm participating in, I just have so much love for it that if I am to die in the ocean, then I'm okay with it. In the spaces of where I lose consciousness, there is a very subtle time where I'm like, far out, is this the end? And then in there are questions. What have you done? What have you done to help people? What have you done to help your family? And what are they going to remember you by? They're pretty much the 3 questions that keep popping up every time I'm about to drown. And because of those 3 questions is how I also lead out how I behave. Well, what am I to do with the knowledge I have if I don't share it. It's just a waste of knowledge. It's a waste of time, and I'm not honouring the moana and it's everything it gave me. Who's going to keep spreading my word? My children, their friends. How am I going to do that? I have to show them. You know, everybody here has the gift to change other people's lives. You just have to step into that space and give it a go.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I didn't get here because I can speak easy since a kid. I couldn't even speak English at 8, 9, 10 years old. Couldn't speak reo at all until later in life. This product you have in front of you right now is work. And it's been work, constant work. Lots of mistakes, lots of mishandling of things, but I've always made sure to keep working. Get off my ass, do something, and make sure it's positive for everybody else. Bro, I don't know where that come from either. Sorry, bro. I go wayward, eh?
That's good, bro. It's
You
good.
allowed?
Yeah.
But we're coming up to our final questions, boys, and I want to ask you both this. It's a bit of a 2 questions in one, but let's go back in time also, and let's talk to your 16-year-old selves, and also the 16-year-old, the young rangatahi that are watching this as well. What's your message to them overall about, the bro talked about getting off your ass and getting it done. So within that whole ao, what's your message to our young rangatahi out there for life moving forward from where they are now? Because as we know, we grew up in a different world. We were talking about it earlier. I wouldn't be able to handle being a teenager these days. There's so much to worry about compared to our days.
Yeah.
There was no social media. There was no pressure like that. So for our rangatahi that are living in a world in this time, what's your guys' advice for them right now?
Just do stuff. Well, I'm going through this now with moko. Put your device down and do some real stuff, like with your hands. Yeah, because this mana comes from the doing. Because through the doing you demonstrate. But if you've got to do stuff. I was painfully shy, but I did. I read, I drew, I played sport, and then people could see who I was under that hiding. They saw glimpses. Oh, look at that boy. Yeah, but you can't do it if you're not. Nothing can grow in there, in that device. And it's not the kids' fault. It's we actually have to enforce it. It's hard. It's not their fault. Yeah, we started it because we're the Nintendo era. And man, remember how addictive that was. And the games were pussy ass. So imagine how addictive it is, these amazing screen. But that's not the moana, that's not touching the water. We actually have to be hard and make sure they don't let go. Because we're kind of that last generations of, I was made to garden and I hated it. And I was made to do this, I was made to do that. But I know what hard work is. You might not look like it, but I've worked hard. And I'm so grateful that I was made to. I know how to endure. Like, I'm hard. I can be soft as because I've got a hard inside. I'm a steel bar in me. I'll get through things. But because I've been taught resilience.
Kia ora, brother. Thank you for that. DK, what's your final words and whakaaro to our rangatahi out there, bro?
Have I got the chance to talk to my 16-year-old self? Stand on your own 2 feet. Don't be codependent on a partner. You already got enough going on in your own brain. You don't need to take on anybody else's issues or thought processes. Do some accounting. Know how to manage your money. Know your worth when you go and get a job. And people see you when you work hard. Those are just 3 things come into my mind. Obviously, I didn't do any of that. But I truly wish someone helped me in those areas. You know, the lessons I've learnt in the 40 years of living could have been shortened if I had a few targets, you know. Love lots. Encourage emotional speaking, especially from our boys. Learn how you feel, express it with words, and learn to be caring to others.
Bro, don't be ashamed to love lots. Hey.
Don't be ashamed. Bro.
Yeah.
Show your heart. Hey.
Beautiful. Beautiful, brothers. Well, e mihi ana ki a kōrua, o kōrua taimai, ki te kōrero kia mātou, noko nei o Ngāti Maniapoto. Thank you for coming today and sharing your mātauranga, your stories, and just your beautiful kōrero. I think what we've heard today is really inspiring for not only rangatahi, but for people in general. So thank you both for coming and joining the Fade Up podcast. I've got a feeling you might be your last one. You could be back next time you need a haircut. So e ngā rangatira, e mihi ana kia kōrua. Thank you very much for your time today. E mihi ana.
Kia ora.
E ngā rau rangatira mai, mā takitaki mai nei. Thank you for watching the Fade Up podcast. Brought to you by Ōtorohanga District Council, and a big mihi out to Ōtorohanga College as well, and our students here doing our mahi today. Also want to mention our whare here, the CutThroat Brothers here in Ōtorohanga, not only here in Te Awamutu, over in Cambridge and Leamington, and also in Hamilton City right now. So thank you for watching the Fade Up podcast, and we'll see you next time. Hei kona.